Here we are on another eve of another Premier League season, and I'm here to give you my Premier League predictions. We're going to start off with the top six. Spoiler alert, the top six for me is the big six. Considering the fact that a lot of teams are in Europe, you look at Brentford, Sunderland, Bournemouth, I don't think they're going to be able to compete on both levels, and the investment the big six teams have made this summer, I think just puts them clear of the rest. So at six, I've gone with Spurs. The Zerbi's first season, I don't see where it could go wrong for them. The amount of acquisitions they've made, the only thing I found an issue with is their attacking line, which is why they're in that sixth. But the amount of numbers they have, they're going to be able to rack up a good amount of goals between them in my eyes. And fifth, I have United. Manchester United, their defense is just not good enough. The defense they played in the friendly the other day against AC Milan is the same one they were rocking up with in 2022. They just haven't improved defensively. You're still rocking up in 2026, 27 with Luke Shaw at left back. It's just worrisome for me. The midfield has improved, which is why they're still here in fifth, but I just think the other four teams are going to have better seasons. And in that fourth is where I have Manchester City. Again, you could call it a bit of disrespect to them considering the fact that they finished second the year prior, but I just don't trust in Enzo Maresca. I get it was only a community shield, but that squad isn't the greatest. They have probably the best attack in the league, but besides that, I think it's worrying for them. They're going to have to get some acquisitions in the midfield, especially after losing Rodri. But we'll wait and see. Time will tell with them. And at third is where I have Chelsea. Chelsea are due a big season. We're looking at one game a week. Xabi Alonso is manager. They've gone out and got the most sought after manager this past summer. And now they've given him recruitment. They've got a lot of good players in that team. Whether they play as three at the back formation or they go four at the back, I don't see why they don't step up and finish third. They should be pushing for second, even try and push Arsenal to win the league. But at second, I don't know if this is a bit of a surprise, but I've got Liverpool finishing second. I'm not impressed with their business so far, but I expect them to do more. I expect Barcola to come through the door, and I rate Barcola massively. Some of the signings they've made, if they can play at a peak performance, you're looking at Xhaka at the back. He's going to be partnered up with Virgil van Dijk. Your job's already easy enough. If he can strike up a good enough partnership and Liverpool can keep a solid base, I rate Iraola heavily. I think he's going to get Florian Wirtz playing next season. He's going to have Isak. Isak's due a good season. 20, 25 goals minimum in the Prem this year in my eyes. He could easily walk away with the Golden Boot ahead of Erling Haaland. But at first is where I have Arsenal, the champions. They've strengthened again. I don't think their business is done. Konsa's going to be announced soon. Their defense is too solid. When you have a defense like that, you just about need a subpar attack to compete with that and win this league. And I just think Arsenal are just far clear of every other team. My bottom three, I'm not necessarily going three of three down. I think two of them go down. I think Hull for sure go down, and then it's between either Ipswich or Coventry. I think one of them stay up, and I've gone with Coventry to stay up. So Ipswich get relegated. The third team is where there's a bit of difficulty. I just about edged it Leeds because I just think, in my eyes, they're the worst of the remaining teams, and I haven't heard much of their business. I don't know what they got going on. They had a decent season last year, but I think this might spell the end of the road for them in the Premier League. But then you look at first manager sack, the Newcastle manager, Matthias Giselle. I don't know a lot about him, but I just think he's coming into a situation that is just bad. They lost all their best players. The fans aren't going to be pleased. If he loses his first couple of games, which mind you aren't easy, he could easily be the first manager out the door. For my FA Cup winner, I've gone with Liverpool. If they're able to have this season, I think they're going to have him come second. I think they'll also be as good in the Cups. I think they take away one of these Cups, and in my opinion, I'm giving them the FA Cup. Carabao Cup, I think Arsenal take it. The depth they have, the squad they have, they should easily be winning this competition. Lost in the final to City last year, but the squad that they have, I think they've got the best squad in the league. Whether it be the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, I expect them to go far in both, but I think they win the Carabao Cup. Now, if we're looking Premier League awards, top scorer in my eyes is Erling Haaland. I don't think you're missing a trick here with going with Erling Haaland. It's the most obvious answer in the book. If you're looking anyone aside from him, I think Isaac or Joao Pedro. But the chances they will create for Haaland, because let's be real, if Maresca's not creating chances for Haaland, he's in big trouble. That's one job you need to have in that City attack. You've got to create for this man. He's a walking 25 goal machine in the league alone. He's a walking 40 goals all competitions at least, and that's on an average season for him. So I have him easily taking the Golden Boot. Top assister, top playmaker, I think is going to be Bukayo Saka. I think the obvious answer would be a Bruno Fernandes considering the year he had last year, but nothing in football is obvious. The last time he was fit before he got his first big injury 2 seasons ago, he was in the lead in terms of assists. I think he had 11 through about like 19 games or something like that. The creation he's going to have and the fact he's also taking the set pieces has me ranking him top in terms of top assisters as long as he can stay fit. Golden Glove, I think that answer is simple. It's David Raya. He's going to win it again. Arsenal have the best defense in the league. I'd be surprised if he was able to get his hands on a fourth consecutive one. And for my player of the season, I'm going Bukayo Saka. I have Arsenal to win the league. I have Saka to have a massive year production wise, especially in terms of assists. If he can notch up maybe double digits in goals, you see how he wins player of the season. If he's Arsenal's best attack in a title winning year, it's quite obvious to me how he wins the player of the season. Someone could put up more numbers, but as long as he wins that title, it's always going to sway in his way in my eyes. And for young player of the season, I've gone Johan Manzambi from Aston Villa. I really like that signing. I think he could bring so much quality to them, especially with the players they've lost. I think as long as they platform him well, he could have a big season this year. Now, for signing of the season, I've gone Christos Zolis from Arsenal. Again, you could call it bias considering I'm an Arsenal fan, but the fact we got him for £34 million, I don't think Arsenal's going to sign another left winger this summer. So he's going to be the starting left winger. He's going to have the opportunities. As long as he can notch up maybe 15 goals and assists, £34 million is nothing in today's market. Absolutely nothing in today's market. And that's why I see him walking away with signing of the season. You could also look at guys like Tielemans, Manzambi, who I mentioned earlier. Those are guys who's going to be competing with. But flop of the season, I think that's a bit hard considering like what we're going for in terms of signings. There aren't really many potential flops of the season. You're looking at guys who cost big money. You're looking at Tonali. You're looking at Fernandez. You're looking at Anderson. You're looking at Morgan Rogers. In my eyes, I don't think City have this season they think they're gonna have, which is why I have Anderson in this list. Especially with the fact he's here to fill in that Rodri void. Considering Rodri's left now, they're gonna see him as that, and I don't think he's gonna be able to produce that. I think he's gonna be decent, but he's not gonna be 116 million pounds worth in my eyes, anyways. And for a team I think is going to underperform, I'm looking at Manchester United. Again, I have them finishing fifth, and I think that's a disappointing season for them considering the fact they finished third last year. They haven't had the recruitment I thought they were going to have. The only signing I'm really impressed with is Baliba because he's one that they definitely needed. The Tielemans one, as long as they platform him well, it could look good. And then the Santos one, I don't understand considering the fact they already have Kobe Manu. I just think United need at least two players in defense. Again, I said it before, you can't rock up with Luke Shaw at the start of this Premier League season. What's Unk still doing over here? And then you're going to need another center back. I guess you get rid of one, whether you get rid of Lissandra, you get rid of DeLit, whoever you get rid of. You have a lot of center backs who are injury prone. I think you need to get rid of one and get another one in my eyes. And then my Champions League winner, I don't think you look past Barcelona. The fact they've just signed Rodri, I think that's a player they've been missing. This is a team that have come close to winning the Champions League already. They were in the semifinal 2 seasons ago, and they were unfortunate in their quarterfinal against Atletico. They're always on the cusp. The thing that for me worries them is their defense, especially with that high line. Rodri aids that. Again, he's not a one man wrecking machine that can completely stop the high line. You're gonna have to do it in a just in a minimal way. You can't just keep exposing yourself like that in my eyes. But Barcelona have a team that could definitely platform them to win the Champions League. You look at some of the attacking depth they have. The only thing in my eyes they're missing are a striker, definitely a center back as well. If they can get those two positions sorted, I'm not even talking world class players, just decent level of player, I think they could easily walk the Champions League this year. For my Europa League winner, I'm just gonna go with Juventus. I've seen the teams in it. I'm not really impressed by many. I'm always tempted to go with a Premier League team, but I think the teams in it this year are Crystal Palace, which I don't think they'll do too well in. I think Sunderland's in it, but I think Juventus take the crown. If not them, AC Milan's also there as well. I think it'd be one of those Serie A teams. And for the Conference League winner, I've gone with Brighton. Again, in my eyes, it's just best of the rest. And I think the Premier League, the depth they have, the quality they have in terms of brand, no other team's able to match that. And I think they're not even done the recruiting yet. They're still going to get more players in. They've got a good manager. I don't see how they don't walk away with this Conference League. If we're looking the other big leagues, I have Barcelona winning La Liga. Again, I had Real Madrid edging it, winning La Liga or the Champions League if they got Roger over the line. But the fact Barcelona were able to pip into that signing, it just puts them in a different stratosphere in my eyes. Real Madrid are always going to have the glamorous attacks. They're always going to have the counter-attacking players. But in a one-off game against Barcelona these past couple of years, they just haven't been able to do it. I think they've only beat them once in the past 2, 3 years. And Barcelona, again, they've added Roger to a team that is already firing. It can only get better for them in my eyes. In the Serie A, I've got Inter Milan. Again, bit of a generic answer, but they just seem the best team out there, the best coach team, the best run team in the Serie A. Bundesliga, again, it's Bayern. Pretty simple. Again, if Bayern don't win it, it'd be like one of the biggest shocks this season. Same thing goes for Liga, and if PSG don't win it, back-to-back Champions League holders. The fact that there's even a chance they don't win League One would be insane. I think they win it, and they probably walk the league as well.